Picture this. It's the 24th of December, 1976. You're 11 years old, standing in the kitchen doorway. The smell of bread sauce and boiling ham fills every room in the house. The windows are steamed up solid. Outside, the street lamps have just flickered on, amber-orange against a sky the colour of a bruise. And somewhere upstairs, your mum is wrapping presents in last year's saved paper, listening to the Morecambe and Wise Christmas show on the small telly in the bedroom. Tonight is the night. Christmas Eve in 1970s Britain wasn't Christmas as we know it now. There were no Amazon deliveries, no 24-hour supermarkets, no streaming countdowns or personalised playlists. What existed instead was something harder to describe and even harder to forget. It was a feeling, specific, particular, slightly anxious and completely electric. By the mid-1970s, Britain had lived through some genuinely difficult years. The three-day working week of 1974, power cuts that arrived without warning, inflation running above 25%
blue light special
in
on aisle
1975, the highest
Record
since
sale,
the Second
all 7-inch
World
singles
War.
now
Many
99
families
cents.
were stretched thin. A chicken for Christmas dinner was a serious household decision. A selection box from Woolworths cost about 50p, and that was money that counted. And yet, somehow, against all of that, Christmas Eve felt like the most magical night of the entire year. This is the truth no one talks about. The joy that existed alongside the struggle. The warmth that lived inside houses that were genuinely, physically cold. Let's go back to the beginning of that day. Christmas Eve morning. You woke early, not because anyone told you to, you just did. The house was still dark, the frost thick on the inside of your bedroom window. And I mean the inside. Single glazed, draughty sash windows were standard in most British terraces, and in December 1976, the year that followed Britain's hottest ever summer, the winter bit back hard. You pulled on your school jumper over your pyjamas. Practical. Necessary. Normal. Downstairs, the coal fire hadn't been lit yet. Your dad's job, that. He'd come down first, rake the ashes, set the paper and the kindling. By the time the rest of the family appeared, there'd be a single orange glow beginning in the front room. One fire. The whole house gathered around it.
He's not very good, is he?
That is not a metaphor.
Not very good, he's
That
the
is just
worst.
what happened.
That's a bit harsh.
The shops
Harsh?
were
You haven't
different
seen
on
his
Christmas
dancing.
Eve.
Oh, I have.
Genuinely
It's like
different.
watching a giraffe on ice.
Woolworths on the high street was packed, bodies pressing past each other, the smell of warm coats and floor polish and plastic toys fresh out of the box. The record section near the back had singles stacked in their paper sleeves. Slade's Merry Xmas Everybody had been number one in December 1973, and it never really left. You'd hear it booming out of the tannoy, tinny and triumphant, every single year. A woman named Margaret Fowler, who grew up in Wolverhampton, remembers standing outside Beattie's department store with her mother on Christmas Eve 1971. They were waiting for the doors to open for the last hour of trading. Her mother had saved 14 shillings for a doll Margaret had asked for. The doll was still on the shelf. That memory, she says, is sharper than any Christmas morning she can recall. That's the thing about Christmas Eve. The waiting was the gift. For children, the entire day operated on a slow burning anticipation that felt almost unbearable. School had finished the day before, or 2 days before. You'd done your nativity play, sung your carols in the school hall, eaten your mince pie from the tin your teacher kept in the staff cupboard, and now there was nothing between you and tomorrow except the longest evening of your life. Television was your anchor, your constant companion. The BBC Christmas Eve schedule in the 1970s was a serious affair. Carols from King's College at 3 p.m. Then Blue Peter's special Christmas episode, Tracy and Peter and John making something improbable out of sticky back plastic and a toilet roll. Then the early evening news, which your dad watched with the sound slightly too loud. Then the Generation Game, or the Two Ronnies Christmas Special, which the whole family watched together on one sofa, one television, one channel most of the time, because BBC Two didn't always seem worth the bother and it had adverts that made your parents sigh. By 1977, 28 million people, roughly half the entire population of Britain, would tune into the Morecambe and Wise Christmas Special. Not out of duty, out of genuine delight. Because Eric and Ernie felt like they belonged to you, like they'd been invited into your front room and were trying their best